Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home. Hello and welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate that. I'm going to start with a fun food fact. Did you know that the very first food that was cooked in a microwave or for experimental purposes was popcorn? Good choice, right? Emotional eaters love popcorn. Love it, love it, love it. So basically, it worked out, apparently. The second food they used didn't work out so well. It was an egg, and the guy who was doing the experiment ended up with egg on his face. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Now, that's actually true, but I was just being funny. Anyway, moving on. What if I told you that there are about 6 emotions or feelings that can cause you to gain weight? There's more, actually, but I'm going to focus on 6 today. Now, while most people tend to think that only stress plays a part in weight gain, it's up there, obviously. There are several other emotions that trigger this as well. And you don't have to just have it be something negative either. The fact is that happy, anxious, deprived, and bored people can also wind up letting their feelings get the best of them and taking control of their eating habits. So I put together a list of 6 that can cause weight gain so that you can evaluate if one of these emotions is tripping you up, or maybe several. And the first one is the emotion of anxiety. Now, I have to say that this is an overwhelming feeling, and it's a very common one for people with eating issues. Anxiety is a magnet for weight gain because every time you're feeling anxious, your body begins to feel that it's under attack by stress, and that can end up triggering an instant response, which causes weight gain. Okay, so according to several studies, 2 out of 3 people who have eating disorders do suffer from anxiety, and actually anxiety preceded the eating disorder, and that doesn't surprise me. I mean, I'd say anxiety is the number one cause of all addictions, but especially eating issues. It's just so easy to reach for food when we're feeling worried or anxious or sort of jammed up with fear. Now, the Eating and Weight Disorders Journal had anxiety as one of the highest and most important factors I'm quoting them, significantly associated with weight gain. So if you want to stop gaining weight, you're going to have to address your anxiety, okay? It's just, there's no 2 ways about it. I mean, it just, and who wants to be anxious anyway? So it's a good thing to do, whether you're an overeater or not. But one of my favorite things to do for anxiety is meditation. And if you're rolling your eyes right now, I totally get it. People are sick of being told they should meditate. But guess what? Guess why so many people are telling you to meditate? Because you should meditate. And the funny thing is that people are always reluctant to do it because they're like, you know what? I'm too anxious to meditate. Well, that's the freaking point, okay? We meditate to calm down, to bring ourselves down, instead of medicating to bring ourselves down. And meditation is amazing. And, you know, it does take work. It is a discipline, but boy, does it pay off. Roy taught me to meditate close to 30 years ago. And I mean, it's probably the number one best thing he ever taught me. Was that meditation can make a significant improvement in my life, in my eating, in my state of mind, everything, my health. And I'm so grateful for my meditation practice. It's just that as emotional eaters, you know, we want a quick fix, right? We want to take a pill or slap on some lotion or potions, you know? So it's, you know, meditation is actually a quick fix. I mean, we're talking 20 minutes a day or twice a day, preferably. 20 minutes. I mean, you blow that looking at Facebook every day, right? So 20 minutes twice a day, and it will seriously decrease the amount of food that you eat. It'll increase the amount of happiness that you feel. It'll increase the good hormones in your body and the general relationships and relatability to other people, everything. So try meditation. You can also go for a gentle walk. I mean, exercise is so important for calming down and releasing anxiety and stress. You know, and the thing is, I love to walk. I mean, I'm talking gentle. I walk fairly fast, but I'm not power walking. You know, I just like brisk walking. but I walk and I talk to God, okay? And you can replace the word God with anything you want, spirit, source, the universe, whatever it is. But for ease of use, I call it God, but I love to talk out loud and just lay out my concerns, and say prayers that I like and enjoy and pray for other people. And it's the rhythm of walking, calms me down, and then connecting spiritually, like dipping into my divine spirit to connect with universal spirit is so calming. It's just amazing. And so try, really stop what you're doing when you're feeling anxious and your head is running 100 miles an hour. Just call it, time out, go outside, go for a walk around the block. One walk around the block, a 20-minute walk is amazing and will really calm you down. So, and a lot of people, I just want to backtrack to meditation. A lot of people don't meditate because they really do judge it and they think they're not doing it right. You can't do it wrong. I mean, you literally can't do it wrong. If your mind slows down from 100 miles an hour to 50,000 miles an hour, or 100,000 miles an hour to 50,000 miles an hour, you're making progress. So that's got to be good enough. It is for me. Whatever, I don't judge it. I just do it. I sit down and I shut up and it works. So these are some things you can try. I mean, really, before someone suggests that you resort to chemical treatment for anxiety, try meditation, try prayer, try gentle walking, and it takes effort, but there are no negative side effects. And it's a lot less effort than being sick, okay, and not being able to go to work because you're having a panic attack. So try these natural methods. Okay, the second thing, number 2, emotional eating can be exacerbated by happy marriage. I love this. Okay, turns out that being happily married may be great for your heart, but not so much for your body. There are over 600 different research studies that found that being happily married was a cause for weight gain. And there's obviously a lot of things going on here. I mean, the transition towards marriage is a big one right off the bat. I mean, people notoriously, if they have any issues with weight, or overeating, they notoriously pack it on the minute they get married. Why? For a number of reasons. Perhaps it's the commitment. They're locked in. Emotional eaters don't like commitment. Addicts in general don't like commitment. We don't want to be tied down. We want an escape route. So the fact that there's no escape route because you're all of a sudden married could be part of the stress, unconscious usually, of course. Also, just the transition to living with somebody. If you hadn't been living with somebody before, it's awkward, it's strange, it's a huge adjustment to share your space with somebody, perhaps to share your finances, share your food. I mean, that can be a triggering thing. And just all the personality differences when you're living with somebody. I mean, being married is not, it's not all it's cracked up to be, at least in our fantasy mind, right? We fantasize about how it's going to make every problem we have go away. Not so. I've been in a committed relationship and a part of the time was married and it's it's always, I mean, I've been with my husband for close to 30 years and it's not easy even now. I mean, I know him so well and he knows me and we're completely good fits for each other, and yet still there are those points of tension or aggravation, or he's not doing it my way, like he didn't follow my script, and so it's, marriage in the best of circumstances can be a struggle and can cause tension that can cause overeating. So there's a lot of things going on. Also, the fact is there's often a decrease in physical activity because you've got your mate at home, you guys are hanging out watching TV or reading books or cooking or whatever it is, but you're there together and you don't have as many reasons to go out, to get out of the house. That's just a practical thing right there. Also, perhaps you're a couple that likes to eat out a lot. I mean, you're busy professionals and you just say, hey, let's meet at the restaurant. I know New Yorkers are great for this. I mean, they rarely eat at home because it's just, restaurants are just a way of life there. But when you're eating at restaurants, you're typically eating far more calories than you would if you're cooking a meal at home. So watch out for that. And that's often a cause for happily married couples gaining weight. Also, there's not as much exercise going on oftentimes in general. That can decrease as well. So it's important to share, health goals together and be cooking, focusing on cooking healthier meals together, not just being binge buddies. Basically, let's not call each other on the fact that we're eating crappy food and enjoying it. So, try to really encourage each other or have a long talk about how you're going to, really have a healthier year in 2017, what you can do cooking wise, exercise wise, what health goals you can have together, because it's going to be easier if you do it together. There's also the issue of tension in one's marriage. I mean, you may have a rocky marriage. You may be unhappy in your marriage, and that can cause weight gain, obviously, as well. A lot of emotional eating. Instead of addressing the pain, instead of addressing the fact that you might not be a fit for each other, you bury yourself in food, and every night you're overeating before you go to bed, or avoiding going to bed and eating instead, or numbing out with the television. So that's something to take a look at also. It's time to repair what's broken. Otherwise, you're just going to end up getting fatter and unhappier. So that's no way to live. I mean, you deserve much better. Okay, the next one is being lonely. And loneliness is a big, big problem for everybody, for all of us. Sorry, just taking a drink of water there. Loneliness, it's such a crazy emotion, because I think emotional eaters feel this in general more than your average average person. I know for myself, I was amazed at how I could be in a room full of people at a social event and feel completely isolated and alone, completely estranged. Like I don't know these people don't know me. If they did, they wouldn't like me, they'd reject me. All these crazy thoughts, and just feeling so dark and so alone, when I was in the throes of my own addiction to food. So it's really important to know that this is a very troubling emotion, and one we have to really watch out for, because it can cause us to overeat. That's why we eat comfort foods, because we want to feel comforted when we're lonely. You've often heard food as being called your best friend, and so only until recently, did they basically they didn't understand until recently how closely related these two things are. But in a study performed by Hormones and Behavior Journal, they found that loneliness actually changes a person's hunger hormones. So those who felt lonely ended up experiencing greater levels of the hormone ghrelin. And this is an appetite stimulant, which causes people to feel hungrier sooner. So as time went by, the study found that the lonelier we were, the more calories we took in. So it's so important to build a network of people that you feel truly comfortable being with, that can help erase those feelings of loneliness and isolation. And, the best way to come out on top regarding this emotion is finding a partner. I recently had a friend tell me, an older friend of mine, I can't even remember who it is, but she told me that for 40 years, she's had a buddy, a girlfriend she's been talking to weekly for 40 years, and they just jammer on and tell each other about each other's week and emotions, and it's this bond and this opportunity to express themselves and be known and heard. And they're committed to it. 40 years, weekly for 40 years. Imagine that. But what a beautiful thing that is. By partnering up with somebody that you can talk to freely and easily, that's really gonna eliminate those feelings of loneliness, and knowing that there's somebody you can talk so openly and candidly about. So many people just don't have that, and they suffer in silence. But I want to tell you, you can change that. You can change that now. You need to start getting involved in activities where you're in community with other people. Find a health buddy, somebody who has health goals, that you can do it together and chat with each other. But this is so important to really regulate those feelings of loneliness, because it's the pits. It's absolutely the pits, and it's so hard not to overeat when you're in that place of just darkness and self-pity and nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I'm going to eat some worms. We always eat more than worms, right? We wouldn't do so bad if we just ate worms. Gross. gross. Okay, so the next one is the emotion of feeling deprived. Oh, we all know about this one, don't we, as emotional eaters? And the feeling of being deprived can definitely manifest itself as hunger over time. So those who feel as though they're being deprived of something usually end up overeating, and usually eating the thing, of course, that they feel deprived of having. The International Journal of Eating Disorders found something really interesting when they did this study. They said that people who are feeling deprived experience more cravings for whatever it is they're lacking. So they actually proved it in a study. And also, the way our brains work is our brains decides that the forbidden foods are the ones that we must reward ourselves with. Those are going to be the greatest reward. It's just, if you think about it long enough, that's what you are sure is going to heal you or cure you or fix you. And it's hard to do. I mean, when you set up that craving, it's hard for that food to actually come through because the fantasy is always better than the real thing, right? But my experience is the quickest way for me to crave something is to decide that I'm not allowed to have it. Give me a diet that forbids green beans, and that is the one thing I'm going to obsess about eating. It's just human nature, it's our brains, and it's craziness, right? So it's really important to avoid falling into the cycle by watching your thoughts. I mean, the bottom line is nobody's ever taking anything away from you. I mean, that's kind of a childish notion, I think, that we carried with us from childhood, and it's sort of that diet mentality, right? Of what I can't have. What are your cheat foods? As if somehow we're going to cheat the system, as if there is a system that's being imposed on us, and there's no such thing. I mean, if we go online and find a diet and start following it, nobody told us what we could and couldn't have. We decided to follow that diet or not. But the bottom line is there's no outward authority telling us what we can and can't eat. Even if you watch a news program in the morning, Good Morning America has a study that all of a sudden you can't eat, chocolate, or all of a sudden almonds are the thing you're supposed to stay away from. Guess what? Nobody's telling you not to eat chocolate or almonds. It's just a study. You just heard a study. But in our minds, we're into this forbidden, can and can't have. And it definitely, is a hearkening from our earlier days as children. I know for myself, oh my goodness, my mom was my, my food authority. And so she always gave me the evil eye. Oh boy, did she have a good one. She would always, I was an overeater and I was out of control and she knew it, and she had her own food issues. So fact is, she was always watching what I ate, and it was so awful because I had to eat, nobody's going to stop me. But she tried by giving me this eye. And so when we'd be out to dinner, give me a piece of bread, and I'm looking for the butter, right? Like, who wants bread without butter? I mean, they go together so well. So I'd always be looking for the butter. I loved butter. Baked potato, I'd slather on the butter and the sour cream. And regarding the salad, I love salad bars, actually. My favorite place to go eat was a place in the next town over that had a great salad bar. But why did I like the salad bar? Because I wanted the croutons and blue cheese dressing. I gooped it on. And so she was always watching these fatty, condiments that I'd be using. And so she'd give me this evil eye, and so I was always trying to sneak it, or I'd get defiant, like, screw you, I'm eating butter, you can't make a scene right here in front of everybody, And so it did set up that sort of can and can't have, as if somebody's not allowing me. But the bottom line is, as adults, there is no outward authority unless you've got, you're on The Biggest Loser and Jillian Michaels is screaming at you. But the bottom line is, nobody's making you eat or not eat anything. So let's wipe away that idea of can and can't have, that idea of we're like children that are being disciplined and forbidden to eat something. And let's reframe it. Just let's say it instead in terms of, I can have anything I want, but in order to feel good about myself, in order to eat what makes me feel good and energized, and instead, let's reframe it. Instead of acting like we're being deprived, let's say, I can have anything I want, but in order to feel good about myself, in order to feel energized and clean and vibrant and just walk with confidence, I'm going to choose this healthy food instead. So it's our choice. It's our taking responsibility for our health. It's our overall new program of self-care. Put it in that context, and you're in the driver's seat, and it's your choice to take care of yourself. Okay, let's talk about emotional eating caused by stress. We all know about this, right? But physiologically, stress triggers fat storage in our bodies, okay? And what happens is adrenaline is instantly increased, and when that happens, our fat cells begin to spurt out fatty acids that it has stored. And the reason is because those adrenaline causing fatty acids can basically be used for quick energy. And this is great if you're an exerciser and you need that burst of energy. The stress is great. The stress response of outputting fatty acids and using them so that you can continue to push forward, no problem there. But if you're sedentary, if you're channel surfing on the couch, if you're hanging out on your computer all day, working and checking out Facebook, it's not a good thing to have all that fat running around in your bloodstream, okay? And so in addition, stress triggers a hormone called cortisol. And cortisol basically grabs all the unused fatty acids and creates all the fatty acids in your bloodstream and creates belly fat, okay? So it's all stored in the belly area of your body, and it's not a good thing. If you have muffin top, you're worried about muffin top, okay? Stress is a big cause of that. Stress combined with not exercising, not being active. So the best way to beat stress is obviously by, getting active. It causes so many healthy things in your body. When we move, when we're active, not only active in our bodies, but in our minds, but when we're getting up off our tush and we're walking or jogging or taking a spin class or something more gentle like yoga, when we're moving, we're not only bringing down our stress level, we're also using any, of the fat that's stored. And so it's just, it's a no-brainer. We know about exercise as a stress reducer, and obviously that can help us lose weight. But think of it more as a stress reducer because it is so valuable. The weight loss is automatic if you're bringing down your stress, okay? But there's other things as well for bringing down stress. Obviously, meditation, journaling, talking with a friend. There's a jillion things you can do that are healthy, okay? Not popping a pill or having a drink. But really being active. Laughter is amazing for bringing down stress. Chances are you're too serious, okay? You're not laughing enough. Watch the late night shows, tape them so you're not staying up too late. But I love watching Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, and just they're being goofy and they have a lightness about them that just lightens my mood and definitely brings down stress. So laughter is wonderful. Watch a funny movie or go back and watch some episodes of Seinfeld or Friends. Those will always make you laugh. So anything you can do to up-level your mood and decrease your stress is going to have an impact on your relationship with food. Now, the last one is an interesting one, and it's boredom, okay? So many people say, oh, I eat because I'm bored, and that's it. The case closed, boredom. But my feeling is boredom often isn't boredom. It's really a restlessness or maybe a feeling of fear of one's state. And what I mean by that is if you have nothing going on and you're hanging out and you feel bored, chances are you're also feeling or becoming aware, maybe not consciously, but those feelings are bubbling up. When we're quiet, and that's why nighttime eating is so hard, and a problem for so many people is because when things get still and quiet in the house, then we start to be aware of uncomfortable feelings, and we don't want to feel. Emotional eaters don't want to feel. So this idea of boredom if you dig in a little bit, it's more than just that, but not always. I mean, I understand sometimes it's simply just having idle time and being uncomfortable with being idle. And that's, something to work through as well. But nevertheless, boredom is a main, big cause of people. Boredom, I'll put it in quotations, is a big cause of overeating for people. And even, studies say it's like the gateway emotion for emotional eating. So in order to, and also when we're bored, we're looking for entertainment, right? And so we're going to eat foods that are entertaining. We're going to look for, salty, crunchy chips, or, super ooey gooey ice cream, or, some candies that we can unwrap and have different flavors or different kinds of nuts or caramel in them. We're looking to be entertained when we're bored. And so it's not a salad. That is not entertaining enough. So anyway, it's really, studies have shown that's a big reason why people overeat, or it's at least the reason why they think they're overeating. So the important thing to do is, I'm not a big one for saying, keep busy, always keep busy, because I don't believe in running from your feelings just strictly as a way to not overeat, because at some point you have to stop. At some point you got to slow down. So that's not a solution. However, there is a happy medium, I believe, where you don't want to be idle all the time, and most of all, you don't want to feel purposeless. You want to feel like you have purpose in this life, and that something is driving you, and some good passion or ambition that is worthy of your time and your attention and your effort, and sometimes your stress. And so it's important to know that if you don't have that, that could be a problem in your life, that you're just feeling like you're not contributing, and it lends itself to a feeling of depression, hopelessness, loneliness. A lot of things can stem from not having a reason for living, and boredom can come from that. So just consider what drives you, what your passions are, and what can you do to pursue those passions. It might be a hobby that you really have always wanted to do. Last year I started doing art because it was on my list. I had been an art major in college, and then I just dropped it and got busy with life. And so I started taking art classes and began painting, and oh boy, it was so much fun. It was really just a wonderful new part of my life, of my brain. And I felt really proud of myself for doing something that was lingering in the back of my consciousness, but that I had sort of let lay dormant for so long. So find a hobby you enjoy, or be a part of community that's doing something that you like hiking, or if you're interested in going to art galleries or something, do it in a community of people who love that kind of thing. And it's just, that'll just like spark your imagination and your social, satisfaction. So just really think about what you can do and what kind of activities you can find that'll just perk you up and make you feel interested and involved and engaged. Because truly, obviously, when we're not doing anything, it's easy to just drink and eat, And so think about what you can do to be more active, be more engaged in all of your senses. So these are the 6 waking traps that I've laid out for you here for today, just to review them. We have anxiety. It's a big trap for emotional eaters. Also, we have being happily married. I think that's a funny one. Being married at all, it's not a bad thing, but obviously it comes with a few warning labels. Being lonely is a huge one for us, of course. The feeling of being deprived, that's a big trap for us. Also, of course, stress and, quote, boredom. So these are the things to watch out for. And if you're headed to the kitchen, just do a little check with yourself. What's going on? What's really motivating me? Am I truly hungry, or am I one of these 6 things? Is there something going on inside? And there are more than 6, clearly. But these are the ones I'm focusing on today. So take some positive action to counter what's going on and to really change your state, so you don't have to be a victim of it and end up using food for an anesthetic or comfort. So thanks so much for listening and watching. I sure appreciate you, and it's been fun, and I'll see you on the next show. Take care.
If you enjoyed this show and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.